Welcome. This is a Public Works Committee, actually, but we're also called General Services. It is October 25th. Dan Gukin on my right, and Kiki Miller is not here yet, but she might show up. So we're going to move along and get this thing going. Looks like we need to do some things for JUB.
Oh, no, wastewater.
Wastewater.
Is there another?
Oh, he's passing it on. Michael
Oh.
passes it on.
Hi.
Larry, welcome.
Hi, how are we?
We're good.
Do you have a better name than wastewater? I know you were discussing that.
Talk to him.
Yeah.
It's our history. Come on.
I know they need to get progressive about this.
I'm sure there's a politically correct term or something.
So I've got a couple of items for you. The first one, and these are both budgeted items for your approval. This one, the first one is our annual general services, or our, public, where am I here?
We're lost too, so.
Yeah,
you're
professional services agreement, I'm sorry. With JUB, we've got a 5-year contract with them. And this is 4 of the 5 years. And this will be for our capital improvement projects, our rehab and replacement, whether we do CIPP or open trench. And this year, we're planning on more open trench on 19th and 20th Street. Old 6-inch, it needs to come out, that's in bad shape. It was designed back in 2018. Mike Becker had a bunch kind of stacked up projects ready to go. So I've been whittling away on them the last couple of years. So we'll replace old concrete pipe with new 8-inch PVC. So. And the water department's gonna have a little bit involved in this too. They've got some stuff that needs to get done. And when we come back to see what the bid of the project, I'll have Kyle come in, Kyle Marine, and he can explain their portion. It's a small portion, so.
Sounds good.
Any questions, Dan?
No, not on that specifically, but in the, in your staff report, it says that the utility is budgeted $800,000, and the total cost of this is $188,000.
Yeah, for their contract.
So what's the difference? I mean, is that,
Well,
why do we budget so much?
because this isn't the bid, we haven't gone to bid opening.
Oh, so this
on
is-
the
this-
bid or anything.
So the 800 is to do all the
Yeah,
work? too.
Yes, and some.
Okay,
So
so-
depending on when we go to bid with this project, we see, like, last year it was 430,000, I believe, I can't remember. Any money left over, then we'll peck away at smaller projects, manhole replacements, things like that, so.
Okay.
This is the first year, I believe, of 800,000, is it not? So,
So we got, so the engineer does their thing, then,
yeah, this is their thing, and then on top of that'll be the bid price. Hopefully, the way things are going, hopefully it won't be astronomical, with pipe availability and all that going on, so.
so this is, and I understand that problem.
Yeah.
So this is you said water's gonna come in there too, so you're gonna do 20th and 21st Streets, you said?
19th and
19th,
20th Streets, north of Coeur d'Alene Avenue.
Is there any coordination done with the street department so that they could, I mean, you're gonna patch the trench, but is there any coordination done with them to,
For
like, just
stormwater?
go ahead and do the rest of the street? while they're at it?
Yeah, well, Mike Anderson and I were talking about that. We'll see. I don't know. Some of it's just water services and some of it's water main and water services. So when we get into this deeper, we'll look at whether we should pave the entire street curb to curb. And there might be some stormwater modifications that'll need to be done too, so.
Well, I
talk to-
appreciate you looking into that.
Yeah, we will.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will cover everything, so.
So Larry, I have a question. So you put in new pipe in 2018, 6-inch, you said?
No, the design for this project this year was done back in 2018.
Okay,
Mike had several of them done ahead of time.
sure.
Last year's was one of them, this year's one of them, so.
And when you do open trench and you have water and stormwater, there's certain specific distances apart,
Right.
correct?
Yep.
And I was
So-
thinking if you could put all the manhole covers in the bike lanes, we would
Yeah.
have smoother streets, just
Right.
a thought.
You gotta line
Whoever
the
thought
manhole
of that?
covers up with where your right tire goes down the
I
road,
know.
just like government way, so that, it's, that way you stay awake.
Yep. Oh, I never thought of that.
That's an engineer thing. I think they do it on purpose, you guys.
Well, it looks like we don't have enough votes here to move this, so we have to bring this forward to council? Is that correct?
No, you can recommend approval, and it can either be on the consent.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be okay with consent because this has already been budgeted. It's something we do every year, but you said the water department's going to come back and talk about it, so maybe we
Yeah.
do that to council.
It's down the
When
road.
it's, when
though.
it's ready to bid out,
Okay, we could, yeah, if that's what you'd like.
yeah.
So,
Bid will come back to council.
Okay.
to approve the bid.
So you want to move this to
Yeah, we could,
consent?
I think we could do this on consent. I mean, it seems, even though it's a big
I
item.
don't think the
it's not-
water portion's very large, and if they're doing it themselves, I think part of it's gonna be done themselves, and part of it, I think they'll lump in with our contractor, so,
And correct myself, this is, we do this every year, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yep,
so this is, I mean, technically, it is a consent item, since it's already been
Good with
budgeted,
that,
and
Randy?
they come back every year. So, yeah, consent calendar would be fine. I would make a motion to recommend that council approve the agreement with JUB Engineering for professional engineering services associated with a 2021-2022 wastewater collection system capital improvement projects in the amount of $188,900.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Thank you. Larry, next.
Okay.
You're up again.
Oh, my
Yep.
God.
and this is a replacement for a 2010 dump truck for the wastewater utility, one of our sludge hauling dump trucks. What we're going to do, or we'd like to do, is piggyback on a truck that the drainage utility bought in July of 2020, which they piggybacked off the city of Sandpoint. So it is something that I took in, Randy looked it all over, was good with it legally. It's something we've done in the past before. What it does is it helps us keep uniformity with our fleet. Something that goes back to Dennis Demeray when he ran the street shop. We sat down, talked about trying to keep these trucks throughout the city all the same, or as close as we can for parts and maintenance and what have you. So,
Any questions, Dan?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Woody. Aging dump truck 2010, I guess they don't last longer than 10 years.
yeah, they do. And we option the street department or the drainage utility or any department in the city we can make a deal with them on it. This is one of the model years that there's a mechanical issue with them. The street department's had it, we're having it more. And it's not the truck itself, it's the engine and exhaust system. It was when they went to this new exhaust system to get emissions way down. And apparently this model year is not a good model year, so,
But
That's-
just put a cork in the tailpipe or something?
yeah, essentially. So what we'll do is, once this is approved and we get the new dump truck built, we're gonna try something different. We're gonna auction this one off through the Gov. Yeah, it's something the street department did and sold a grader recently and did really well with it.
Well, let's hope no one watches this meeting, because then they'll know that it has problems.
Well, that's part of their due diligence is to know.
What, the legal department doesn't need it? Because, I mean, they could sell it to you guys.
Yeah.
I didn't ask Mike about it.
Be really cool to drive that to the court.
All
So
pumpkins with it.
my question on this is, so we have budgeted 190,000, the cost is 170,000.
Right.
So there's a $20,000 difference. What happens to the $20,000?
What happens to the 20,000? That's a good question.
Now, I've seen in the past, and it was the water department, not you guys, but what they do is they eventually spend the rest of it on buying things for the truck, something to hang from the rearview mirror. I don't know what.
Hopefully I covered that on here.
Okay.
The only thing I may have missed would be the tarping system, but if I look back, I'm pretty sure it's involved in it also, so.
Okay, so the money that is not spent goes back into your fund?
Yes.
For, like you said,
Yes,
you
it
can
will.
target other projects with
Yep,
that? Okay.
Yep, it'll go
Well, I
back in the
appreciate that.
wastewater fund for probably planned items, so.
And it's damn expensive. Is that just new? I mean, how much was this like 5 years ago, would a new truck been?
That would probably be on the high side. We
Yeah.
probably could have got it for 125,000.
I mean, that's just, and that's
And-
cars.
And this is
too.
gonna be, and the caveat to this is, after the council meeting and everything goes the way we all hope it does, then now we gotta order it and see how far out it's gonna be.
is
Apparently,
crazy.
the truck itself is no big deal. It's the steel and building the box that's the problem. So.
Okay, well, let's hurry up and get this done.
All right, look for a motion.
I would move to authorize the purchase agreement with Freightliner Northwest for the procurement of a new 2022 dump truck in the amount of $169,736.
Second.
Great.
Discussion, any other questions?
No, just, it seems like that's it's something we should do from a game show. It's like a brand-new 2022 dump truck.
It would be a lot more fun, wouldn't it?
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Awesome.
Opposed, moving on.
Okay,
Thanks.
I'm done.
Larry, good job.
Thank you, guys.
So approval of retirement benefit to consult agreement with Casey Fisher. Mike Anderson, all the way from the poop ant. Welcome.
There's a better name.
Yes, I like it.
We don't call it that, we call it the Water Resource Recovery Facility is what, is that, because.
It's a lot of words.
WRF, because of our acronyms.
I like
We love our
turd mill
WRFs.
myself. That
Like
was
poop
Sid
point.
Fredrickson's term.
There's no question where it comes from. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry, we'll get
No.
started here. We won't get out of
You
here.
know I love wastewater. So, and speaking of loving wastewater, today I bring to you a consultation agreement that we would like to enter into with Casey Fisher. So Casey Fisher was our chief operator at the facility since about 1988. He started with us in 1984, I believe, and has been there for 37 years. He retired in September of this year, so he just retired. And there is a clause in the personnel rules that allows us the opportunity to utilize somebody as a consultant. And somebody who's been around the wastewater facility running the wastewater facility specifically, for the last 35 years or so knows where, I don't want to say the skeletons are buried, but where the poop is buried, let's say. He knows these certain things. So we would like the ability to utilize his services in a somewhat modified agreement. So this is not exactly as per the personnel rules. In other words, the gist of it is we would look to reduce the benefit to Casey and his service to us by half. So the benefit is for 240 hours worth of work over a period of 2 years, and we would pay him $24,000 in his VEBA account, his health insurance account. But we'd look to reduce that by half. In other words, we probably only need him, we're looking at for the beginning of next year. So for 1 year, we figured we could easily get our work done in 1 year for a benefit of $12,000 and I'm only asking for 120 hours of his services. So we've got some projects lined up, which you can see outlined either in the memorandum that I sent to you or as well as in the staff report. For example, digester startup. We have, just to briefly go over this, not to take up too much of Bill's time, but the anaerobic digesters are full of what we call biogas, but it's 60% methane. So they're anaerobic because there's no oxygen in them. And when you're filling one up, that can get pretty dangerous as you're filling something up with essentially methane gas. You don't want oxygen in there because you're one spark away from something horrible, which actually did happen just to our neighbors a couple decades ago in Spokane, where they had an accident with their digester and it killed 2 people. It's one of the most dangerous things we do, and we're looking to do that in the beginning of next year. So
To blow it up?
no, we're looking to listen to what's in my head, Mr. Coogan, not what's coming out of my mouth. So what we would do is we're on 2 other digesters, 3 and 4. We're on these 2 digesters. We'll take them offline and bring online number 5, and we alternate. Every couple of years we'll alternate. We don't do it very often because it's dangerous, but we have to take the ones that are currently online offline to clean them for maintenance, things like that. So when we bring it online, we're looking for 2 things. One, Casey, will you assist us in getting this online? Probably take about a week or so. And as well, Casey, we would like an SOP, a standard operating procedure. You draw something up so that in the future, we know to turn valve number 3 first before opening,
Wait, he hasn't documented all this? He's been there for how long?
Well, that's why we're looking to get it all documented. We want to make
Okay.
sure everything's documented at this point forward. Yeah, to answer your question, no, some of these procedures are not documented. And we could muddle through it. We just feel like it would be safer to,
Probably want to get people to start documenting things before they become so valuable we have to pay them after they leave.
right.
Oh, I was going to ask, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Woody. So when you do this dangerous thing, will there be viewing stands?
There could be, right along the
Let
trail,
us
you
know,
can
because we
view
can
what
make
we're
a whole
doing.
event out of it. I think that would be thrilling.
Hopefully, it would be extremely boring.
I have, so I looked in the contract, so he's going to be paid out hourly. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, we were thinking in that way, they'd be held a little more accountable, in other words, it's not, this sort of the standard method or the method that had been used previously was just to pay them and then work it someone that gets done, but we thought it'd be better
Yeah, I
to
appreciate
pay
that.
as you go, basically.
Because that was one of the things I noticed was there was a while back, so someone did something like this, they wrote him a check and they never saw him again, so.
And if that's the case, fingers crossed that's the case.
Yeah.
Honestly, and like you said, everything's great, but this does give us the opportunity to utilize the services.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Couple questions. So this is almost project-specific for him and his time, right? He's pretty
yeah.
much got it laid out there.
There is one thing at the end of the agreement that sort of says, sort of on call.
Sure.
And one of those, if I'm being frank with you, that's one thing that we actually anticipate using him for, and I don't know how often, but it would be those 2 a.m. phone calls. Casey, we're kind of stuck here, and I hate to say it, but that very well might happen, and I know Casey on a personal level, after he retired, went to his house and whatnot, but I also got to know him over the years, and he would answer the phone either way. I know he would. But I don't want him to answer the phone and not be compensated for his time to what have you. So there might be some of that, but by and large, yes, it is project specific.
Okay. So when Casey, you knew Casey was leaving, has his position been replaced pretty much by how do you do that? With
So-
a new
right.
guy or an old guy?
So we couldn't
Not
fund
talking about you,
this.
Larry.
We couldn't fund this because it's not in the budget. So in order to fund it, we plan on having that position vacated for a month. And come November 1, it will be vacated for a month. But we haven't yet selected our candidate. We're still in the process of interviewing candidates.
So
It's
does,
fairly specific job, obviously.
right, and does Casey help in that training for somebody just to walk in and know all this stuff? It's not somebody coming up the ranks, huh?
It's not anticipated that Casey would help with, as part of these projects, it's really not anticipated he would help with any of that training.
Okay.
Another question, so Casey's already retired. Was there cake?
It's only 25
'Cause
days.
I
Come
think
on,
he's a hell of a
it's
guy, I
coming
think there
back.
should be cake.
Yeah.
Yep.
We add cake to the contract, would that be, anyway,
They had little poop emojis, honestly, on the
oh,
cake.
come on.
A
trying to
no
be
work
sweet.
zone.
We have to have food and friendship when we talk about wastewater. For some reason, it just goes down that path,
Well, I've
doesn't
been to
it?
retirements and
I know.
they have cake.
They always have cake.
Otherwise, we wouldn't show up.
All right, Mike, thank you.
Thank you.
So I would move that we recommend council approve the retirement medical benefit and consult agreement with Casey Fisher.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thanks.
And I think we're okay with that on the consent calendar.
Yeah. All right, approval of agreement with ROW Incorporated. Bill Greenwood.
Howdy, good afternoon. Let's see, we've got one, we've been working with Row now for a while. They've been having tours from Independence Point Beach around Tubbs Hill. And he's been doing it for many years now. It's just an update to his agreement. He doesn't have any effect on our beachgoers at all. His numbers aren't that big, and any revenue that's generated, we get a piece of action. It goes into Parks Capital Improvement. Pretty simple, really.
We've done this before.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not a new one.
So the only question I have was, over 3 seasons or so, is there more value in this now that, water rights and getting on the water? Is it Do we make more
Just
money?
getting a piece of the percentage of what his sales are, and so I think we're just under about $1,000. Again, he's not doing a lot of tours. We had tried to incorporate some of this with a tour that didn't fly, which was hiking tours around Tubbs Hill. So we didn't want to do that one. We landed on this. You may remember that one. So it was, they didn't want to privatize or, commercialize Tubbs Hill, but the water, there's no interference with our public.
Okay. Anything else?
Seems good.
You're good. I'll move to recommend the council approve the agreement of ROW Incorporated DBA Row and Ventures for commercial use of city property at Independence Point for a period of 3 seasons.
I'll second that.
Move and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Bill. Moving on.
More.
So this one is another one that's been around for about 30 years. The only change to this now, I did speak with their association numerous times on their board about an increase. What you just mentioned, Councilman, about the value of property or water rights. They have a limited amount of resources, but what they did offer up, and I like this idea, we get a piece of their sales action, which is we're getting 0.25% of the yearly gross slip sales. And so the average works out just about $1,500 annually. It has been, that's over a 5-year period as an average. It has been greater in previous years. So, and then on top of that, if you see in the staff report, there are some other values that we have a slip there for fire. So the overall value of what we're getting with our,
Do we still need that?
yeah, well, we haven't built a firehouse or boat yet, and so we're
Did they ever
still,
park the boat there?
we still park one there on occasion, yes.
Okay.
And not only us, but there are other agencies that use that side tie as well.
Right,
So anyway, there's a value to municipalities and the sheriff's department. So they'll stage out of there sometimes. So on top of that, so the overall value of this is about 15 grand. And you can see that, where it starts out at $7,182 or $62, that goes up with the CPI. So we get a yearly increase on top of that, plus a piece of that revenue. And I think this has been, like I said moments ago, I think it's just a little over 30 years now we've been working with these folks.
Can you explain what the Ryapan rights are? What
Riparian.
is it that they
Riparian.
get that we control?
So we have jurisdiction over riparian, the water, to a certain area around our property. So Tubbs Hill is our property. We have a piece of that property there at East Tubbs. So those riparian rights at a certain distance are ours. And so we can lease those. Now, on a little further is that we don't own the ground, the bottom of the lake. That's run by state parks, and they have to get permits from them. Okay, so we are just the holders of the rights around the water, on top of the surface of the water.
So it doesn't take their whole marina?
Well, it does actually, the way it works from Tubbs Hill out. And, so they lease that from us.
Okay.
They're leasing some land from an adjacent property owner for where their docks are tied into the shore.
Gotcha. And their parking, they take care of their own parking?
Yes, they have their own.
Okay. Are these the folks that were not supportive of the kayak launch, that we kind of got in some bickering? Does that carry it? Do you use that as a stick along the way at all?
We've talked at length about that, and yes, that's correct. It was their previous HOA pres, Jim Hale, was concerned about that. They do get a lot of vandalism on their docks. There's a lot of people that can just swim over and get on there. They're talking about putting up some fencing along on that west side so east of Tubbs Hill and the west side of their dock system. So they're going to probably do some modifications and put some of their own fencing up on their docks to keep people from getting up on the docks. They've had people steal motors and break into boats and some other things and vandalize them. So, they've talked to me about that, and I said, that's really not our responsibility. It's that burden is yours. And so they, in the near future, are going to put some fencing up, I believe.
Okay. All right, I'm good.
Thank you. Oh, I have one question. Bill, so the rental fee for this, So it goes up to CPI, and then we receive a VIG of 0.25%.
It's not much, I know.
Why not?
Why not what?
Why not more? I mean, that's one of the issues I've had that people have presented to me. It's not particularly with you, but it's with the rental of or leasing of space for cell towers.
Right.
And that, you lease a cell tower on private property, you're going to pay a hell of a lot more than when you lease it on public property. I mean, I just want to make sure we're not getting taken advantage of here, and that this is a fair price.
Well, as an HOA, they're not generating a lot of revenue. It's not like they're a private business who are charging certain things. So that's the reason for it. They really, even though they've got a sweet deal with us and these
Yeah.
riparian rights, they don't have a lot of capital to lay out. And so I was trying to work with what capital they do generate, hence the percentage point on what their gross sales are. And so a lot of their stuff goes back into maintenance and, oversight of the marina itself. So they just don't have a lot of spare capital. It's not like a private business who can try and generate more, revenue by increasing whatever it is they provide. Maybe Woody has a bigger menu, so he gets more money, or whatever it is. They just don't have that ability. So they're a bit limited in how they can generate the capital. So I try to work with them.
But it is it the only marina in the city?
Say it again?
Is it the only marina in the city that you can access off of city property?
Well, no.
Really,
I mean, as far as that type of marina, but we have the
Private.
mooring docks, which is, I guess, be considered a marina. So,
Private people can rent the slips and stuff.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, so people come to our marina, our mooring docks. And
Right.
They
That's
pay
different.
a fee to be there.
It's different, though. They don't own the slips out there,
No, not at
or
all.
lease the slips.
But, yeah, and we in the future here, guys, we may end up having some other opportunities that present themselves along the river and possibly other locations where we
Okay.
can actually, do a little better with a new lease that we're putting together on these riparian rights. I've got one that I'm be bringing forward to you guys sometime this spring around by Harbor Center.
Okay.
So, I agree with you that those rights can be rather expensive. We might in the near future have something at Atlas. We've got a couple of spots there
Yeah.
that we might be able to do, and two locations that, if you recall, in the original plan, we had a couple of spots of those, and we just, through money reasons, we opted not to go down that path. But the future might be that we could do something there and generate some good revenue.
And Hagedorn's Marina that's private. We don't control
have
that. We don't
anything-
make any
yes,
money off it. But
yeah.
have we ever? Wonder if they've ever done a comparison between what he charges and what they charge. I mean, that would just be curious for me if we ever wanted
Yeah,
to walk down
years
that
ago I
path.
did a linear foot on those, and I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. It was a long time ago, so my memory's terrible. But yeah, they do it by the foot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so legal question for you. So we talked about riparian rights, Randy. So what's the difference between riparian rights and littoral rights?
Taking me way back to law school in the water.
Sorry if I put you on the spot, but it came up.
You haven't got a mic there, bud.
Oh, he doesn't have a mic. Okay.
He's got to get up.
Thank you for noticing that. Make him work.
Maybe Bill knows that question. I don't remember what the littoral rights are. It seems to me that those may be rights along a river.
I don't know.
Yeah, see, it's water. So is it the difference between a lake, riparian, and a river is littoral? I don't.
Riparian
Curious question.
does imply all water.
Weird.
So I'd have
Well,
to.
don't. I know that you're probably going to go back now and send me a 5-page email that's going to explain it all. You don't have to do that.
Two pages?
Okay. Thank you. It's just a curiosity because, I mean, it's a.
Yeah, good question. I don't
very
know.
rarely hear those words outside of the legal profession.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I have no problem with this. So
Okay, thank
we're
you.
good to go. And I will make the motion to recommend that council approve a 5-year lease of riparian rights. There we go. With the 11th Street Dock Owners Association.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Bill, so you're going to do a presentation?
I am. So this, I think, you generated this from all our department heads, I think, because you miss seeing us sometimes.
Yes, we
And
don't
so
see you.
You never get enough of us. So the premise of this PowerPoint, what gave the brainstorm I had, was some years back, we had a budget workshop. And council asked to have pictures of things that each department was doing. okay? And it was just a few, in this room, and I had some pictures. And several of the department heads came to me and said, Greenwood, you have all the fun stuff. And I thought, okay, I do
Need
have
some
fun
of that.
stuff, okay? So we're gonna take you through some fun stuff. So this is fun stuff. This was the storm we had this January, so we're up on Tubbs Hill cleaning up stuff, okay? It's fun stuff. The staff loves doing this kind of thing.
Really? Good.
This is an interesting thing here. This was a vault carrier that we use in a cemetery. It's a vault carrier in that it picks up a big vault, concrete vault, that puts the grave box in that. This was designed to pick it up and then slide it over a hole and drop it. We found it was a bit cumbersome, and we ended up using a hoe and sling those boxes and put them into the grave. It worked better. We use it on occasion, but Jeff Erickson, our superintendent, decided that we could probably turn this into something different. And so we were able to pick up these logs and then grab it and then pull this back up, and then we stacked those logs and sold those, and we made some money and put it back in to our Tubbs Hill account.
Good.
So this gentleman here is Tom Meek. He was in the Army, and he was a recovery specialist. So he was the guy in charge, running all the show and all the cable lines going up and down the hill and telling people when to stop and what to do and yelling, barking orders like a drill sergeant. So here's Monty working with some folks doing some trail improvements. George Ives out there helping, part of the Tubbs Foundation, helping out with that. There's David Taylor, part of the foundation, helping us. This is over by East Tubbs, a drainage system that we had to redo. That's some of the Tubbs members helping us out on Tubbs. Ironman's fun stuff. Some people might argue that. I thought it was fun. I like that. It's a good time in the park.
It's because they don't break the sprinklers anymore, right?
Well, if they make me mad, I'll turn them on.
Okay.
Okay?
Awesome.
Iron Kids, this is fun stuff. This is all fun stuff. Lots of art in our parks, fun stuff. Mudgee Millie Gathering, our beach, fun stuff. You know, at City Park, Taste of Coeur d'Alene, fun stuff. This is bluegrass during a carnival, fun stuff. Family picnic, splash pad, another splash pad at bluegrass. This is our staff at Atlas installing a playground. We saved some money on having our folks do that. We have certified playground safety inspectors. They can do the installation.
That's cool.
Fun stuff. This is Monty's handiwork. We had moved our dog park at Northshire from the church property, if you recall. You guys let me spend $10,000 and move it over on the other side of the tennis courts at Northshire. We'd put in a new entrance. Monty did all of this work at the new entrance when we moved the park. And this is Czar, this is a pavilion we moved. He's restaining it, and that was from the old dog park into the new dog park. Again, here's Czar installing this fabric because of the pickleballers. We didn't want dogs barking and chasing the balls around, so we thought it was a good idea to put a little shield up so they wouldn't see that. This is kind of fun. I like this. Post Falls has their own parks, but they like to come to ours more often than they go to their own. I wonder why that is.
Okay, so if we want to declare war on Post Falls, what do we do? No, I'm kidding.
Osprey out on one of our cars.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, more fun stuff. Just Taste the Coeur d'Alene's. We have, again, art. This is carving. Jeff May did this. It's in City Park. It's really nice. It was a red fir that died, so we went ahead and let him carve it. This is fun stuff. I caught this little fella on Cherry Hill. I was with a contractor, a burly dude. I picked up the snake. He screamed like a little girl and ran off. I was surprised to see that behavior, but that's what some people don't like snakes.
Is that why we have snakes in our parks?
Wish we had more. Christy didn't like that. She's deathly afraid of snakes. So we have also not so much fun stuff.
Uh-oh.
Not fun stuff. Soccer complex, they burned down the outhouse structure some years ago. Graffiti. This gives a whole new meaning to a computer crashing. Someone threw that off onto the rocks. Ran into a fence. Lots of graffiti, more graffiti, planting trees in toilets. More graffiti. This graffiti is interesting because we can't get to it to clean it up very much. So we've got a little kit we put together. It has greens, grays, blacks, and browns. And we actually model this up with a spray can and then grab some of this material on the ground, throw it in or smush it all in, and it kind of blends pretty good and you can hardly see it.
Nice.
No way.
So we maintain almost 600 acres, 32 parks, almost 400 acres of open space, 550 miles of pedestrian bike paths. And so these are averages, because last year with COVID, our numbers were down, obviously, so these are just averages. But we had, 125,000 people post reservations, 7,000 hours of use. And we also maintain another 52 acres of non-park stuff. You'll see that in the slide coming up about what those green areas are. Okay, recreation, 24 regular scheduled programs, 6,000 participants. We do this all with 4 people, by the way, and 4,000 participants for special events. Cemetery, 22 acres at Forest and Riverview. We average 130 burials. Urban forestry, that number's wrong. It's actually closer to 25 now. Street trees that Nick manages, and 4,000 park trees. And building and maintenance, Adam and his crew maintain 40 city-owned buildings. And that number's gone up a little bit. It's closer to 250 now. So here's the breakdown of how it works out. So Melissa's here. Jeff runs, Jeff Erickson, Paula Austin, Nick, a good one, and AK-47, Adam Karitko.
Okay.
So our boards, Park and Rec Commission, Ped Bike, Urban Forestry Committee, Tubbs Hill Foundation, Panhandle Parks Foundation, Centennial Trail Foundation, and Jewett House. So what I'm going to do is take you through, we have our parks broken into areas. So we have certain areas busted up by proximity, and there are people that are assigned to those areas. And what you're going to see is a slide about all of those different people that manage these areas. So Mike Kempton is the lead over what we call the waterfront corridor. Mark and Jared work for him, and along with a handful of seasonals. This year was not a handful, they had 2. Kempton is the only one, there's only a handful of us that have not, that came in from the outside. Myself was one of those hired from the outside. Kempton was another, but you're going to see this ongoing theme here. Mark and Jared were both seasonals. And you're going to see that a big number, 80% plus of our staff have all been from within. So just walk you through all the things they do. First Street Docks over there by Hagedon's thing, that's ours. Mm-hmm. City Park and the beach, that's ours. That's what they take care of. They take care of this parking lot. Fort Sherman, that was built, like you said here, 2,000 volunteers in 5 days. And so that was something that the Kiwanians did, and they were all out there in mass and had a production going on. Fire One, they maintained the grounds there and the admin. Hubbard Street is ours. That's over there just where the NIC between some of the private property and City Park. That's city land right there, Hubbard Street. That's ours. Independence Point they maintain. Commercial Docks is theirs. Memorial Park, I love this shot. Adam Karitko took that one evening for us.
That's so pretty.
So the maintenance on the outside of North Idaho Museum. All these boulevards, all the way up to, and you'll see this is coming forward, all the way from here to I-90. We maintain all of that. Additionally, beyond that, all the swales from the Kroc Center up to the high school, and you'll see that coming forward as well. Interesting, we didn't put in here, but this flag here, Mike gets out, let's see, before Memorial Day, and coming up soon, they'll come down, but we have about 50 flags from here up to to 95. We install those, and all the flags down Sherman down to 14th. And the new skate park has a new name too. 3rd Street Docks, we just had those replaced. And mooring docks, those got damaged pretty hard this year with the storm, and had a heck of a time getting them repaired because the dock companies were running so far behind. We finally got it, I think, completed midsummer, which they'd been damaged from the storm in January.
So when you
Yes, sir.
talk about damage to storms, are they built differently when you fix them, or do you just kind of fix them and hope the storms don't come? I mean, is there a
The
way
latter.
to protect them?
These are, when we redo these at some point, we'll do a different system. This is a log float system, and that system has some failures in it where they connect. There's got they call a pin and hinge system. The wood gets soft and everything pulls through. So the new docks we just put in at the launch dock are composite decking, steel frame, and a polyfloat underneath, and so they are much more durable. The ones that we first installed 10 or 12 years ago on the seawall, don't look any different, much different than the ones we just installed. So they're much more durable. So in the future, when we replace that, we'll do something different. And City Hall grounds is theirs to maintain, along with East Tubbs. The Jewett House, they do the outside of that. And we threw this in here just because when this is up and running, the museum, we will end up doing the grounds on the outside ourselves. And then library. And then a nice shot of McEwen Park, and the money shot, postcard shot of K-27 and our lake. That's all theirs. And this is the kind of an interesting one here too, because I don't think people understand all the things that we do that aren't parks. This is one of those. Rotary Island down there at 23rd and Sherman. We maintain that. You'll see these coming up throughout these green spaces. And we actually have a art piece at this location too. Many of our parks, as you probably have seen, have lots of art. One of my favorite ones is the dicey that we put in over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
I like the price on that one.
Yeah.
Reuse.
And then 12th Street Beach, and then Sanders Beach. So areas of responsibility, this is Robert, Cooper, and Bailey. Robert he works in a cemetery as well, but Robert started out as a seasonal and became a full-timer. Bailey was hired here a few months back out of Driggs, Idaho. She's been a great fit, but this is the east side of town. And so another one of these kind of one-off things, this is the island out in front by the high school that we maintain. The roundabout, we maintain. That's at 4th Street. This over there by Dave Smith, we maintain. Bryan Field, that's ours. That's Bailey's to maintain and Roberts. Canfield. Cherry Hill Park. This was fun because this one we did in-house, kind of like we did down at East Sherman. We did subcontract out the fencing, but we had $20,000 and we did all of this ourselves. Storm drain was over here. We ran a pipe underneath there and with Terry Lee's help and dumped it out in this swale. This pavilion was built by a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout project, so that was kind of fun to have him do that. BMX, great partner. They've been having some great upgrades. We put some asphalt in there and this turn, and they are going to be one of the more premier tracks in the Northwest. Fallen Heroes, everybody knows what that's all about. That's also theirs to maintain. They maintain Fire 3 outside and North Pines Park, Parsons Field. We all know what that. We liked it so nice we paid for it twice.
I read something on the internet that said we were selling that. Are we selling that?
I have no idea where that gentleman came up with that. So the school district, as you all recall, because you were here, wanted to sell it. We purchased it back again, and we kept it for the public. So the city of Coeur d'Alene never had any intention to sell this.
Thank you.
Yes. Amphipolis Park, this one's just down the street. We've got some trees that are identified here. They're street trees with a little plaque on it, so if you wanted to know what a tree might look like when it's mature, it gives you an opportunity to see what it is, so a choice of a tree. Shattuck Lane Park is theirs. And then this is another one of these things that's not a park thing. I worked this out with Sid years ago. Now Mike's in charge, but we maintain the lift station for wastewater. There's out at Shattuck Lane. And this one was established in '65. This piece wasn't. This was done in about 2001. The smaller field one is over to the right of the frame here. This was a dirt lot. I was involved in building this, and it was just, there was I think a parts house out here or something. But we did some of this work ourselves in-house, and that's really well used. Areas of responsibility, Diet. Diet I hired in 1999 as a seasonal. She became a full-timer in 2005. She took over from what I was doing with the flowers and annuals we plant. We plant about 5,000 flowers and annuals all over town. The lion's share of that goes down here in this waterfront corridor, but nonetheless, she's taken that on and done a great job with it.
And that's just lovely. I got to say, that's one thing I noticed about our parks in our city,
Yeah.
is that you do that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's so pretty. It really
It is.
I mean,
It's labor intensive, but everybody, it pays real big dividends.
I know, it's
nice.
awesome.
It's nice. So Northwest Boulevard Islands. So these all the way up to I-90 thereabout, we maintain the. She does Fire Station 2 outside grounds, Police Station outside grounds, and then Stokes Field. That's where we held all of our micro soccer.
Now, I drove by Stokes Field yesterday. Did we remove all the parking there?
No.
So where's the parking?
The parking's where it always has been.
So it's
just
still
to the
there?
right of this.
Okay,
So what you saw was we for the campus at Street Shop, we did remove a piece of some of the turf area.
okay. But we still have parking there?
We still have parking.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right,
and
good.
we still have a joint use agreement with the businesses over there as well.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Street Department, there's some landscaping out here and out on the other side of the building. She handles that. And then she takes care of all the beds in the I-90 interchange, 16 acres. Our mow crew mows this Quantrose sheep's fescue, which is a slow-growing type fescue. We mow it once a month. And then Monty does all of the outer edge with rough mowing. You'll see that coming up. And then we have an easement here, a utility easement that we maintain this out in front of Days Inn. The other side of Days Inn's the same way. This rock gets a lot of snow splashed on it, so when we're doing snow removal that we come through here, we always have a broom with us, and we broom this off so that the rock doesn't get covered up and you can see it. And then her main, her shop is there at Ramsey, 30 acres, so she maintains this as well. Also, the swales. So she maintains the swales from Kathleen to Croc Center. And then you'll see coming up, Bill Andrews maintains from Kathleen up to the high school. Now, we are looking at these areas. If you've been out to Atlas in a while, we've got clover up and running. It's really nice what it's doing in the swale. So we're thinking we're going to take this and convert these into clover swale. We're going to eliminate the overhead watering, put in subsurface, and that way we won't have any waste of water, complaint about us watering the asphalt. Some of the problem with that is that we can adjust those, but if the wind picks up or a car drives by, it creates a little bit of a vortex and then it sprays where it's not supposed to spray and we have complaints. We'd like to correct that by doing what I just described. So this is Bill Andrews. Bill Andrews has been with us as a seasonal the year before Ice Storm. He became a full-timer in, I think, 2001. So again, another one of those folks that have been with us a long time, internal hire. He's in charge of Bluegrass, the soccer complex, Central Dog Park. Since we moved it over, he was in charge of it there, but it used to be there. Now it's along, like I showed you earlier, right there. And Fire Station 4, Landings Park. Legacy Place is interesting. It's there off of Wilbur and Ramsey. It's a little pocket park. We're hopeful that if this ever comes into development, we could tag on and just actually, increase this, bookend it, and make it twice as big.
Does planning contact you for new developments?
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes. Yeah, both Monty and Nick Goodwin go to those DRT meetings, so we talk through those stuff so that they can move forward.
Keep an eye out for that.
So again, these are the swales. So Bill takes it from Kathleen up north to the high school. So that's irrigation, mowing, trimming trees, trash collection, that kind of stuff. This is an older picture. Obviously, now we have pickleball courts here. These trees were removed. These were Scotch pine. They were damaging the court. The roots were coming in here and cracking, so we made some repairs, hogged those trees out, and now we have 6 standalone pickleball courts installed. The tennis court remains with 2 pickleball courts on either side with temporary nets. Also, Sunshine Meadows is Bill's, and areas of responsibility, Monty. Monty does all of the rough mowing. So all the trails you see, all the open space, he gets in there, and we try and mow it 4 to 6 times a year. This year, not so many, because again, we were shorthanded, but he did a pretty good job. So these are all the areas that rough mowing. Atlas Trail. The Canfield Mountain, he doesn't rough mow, but he's in charge of it, and he and volunteers created this trail system. You guys just passed this agreement with Jason Evans for Can Course. So this connects our property to 1,000 acres of Forest Service land, which is a great deal for our community. This is the Centennial Trail. He's in charge of that. This is an odd one, Evergreen Island up off Atlas. It's a little island in the middle of a subdivision. We go in there and take up the dead limbs and mow that a couple times a year. The same with this, Nez Perce Islands over by Northshire Park, all the way, west of there. We have to mow these and collect litter and that kind of thing. These are the kind of stuff that I don't think people understand, the other things that we do beyond the parks. So the well site at 4th Street, we mow that for the water department. So he mows, the reason this is here, even though the natural area, he mows all of this stuff up in here in the sledding hill. And again, just some areas that are just our property that he maintains. This is an older picture, obviously. Chris and company created that new drainage system in there, but Monty will be the person that will go in there and mow it. Again, this is over by Cracker Barrel. This is our property that we have to keep mowed down. Same with this swale. We do this for wastewater, or stormwater rather, another stormwater swale and an ironwood swale, which is a little patch there just at Ironwood and Government Way. Another one of those. And the Winton area is natural area, so the undeveloped piece, that's what Monty maintains. And Monty does this frontage here, as again, Diet does the shrub beds, our mow crew mows the turf areas. And then Fernand, he's been working on that. Right now, currently, Goodwin is working on a fuel mitigation stuff in there, and it looks really good. He did a presentation, you might want to catch it on our Parks and Rec Commission. It's really nice. Troy and I walked at it a couple weeks ago, and it's come along very, very nicely. And we're going to be planting seed and wildflowers. We're going to broadcast that, I think, the first week of November. So some of those areas that are open, you'll start seeing some next spring, some good grass and some flowers coming in. Kathleen Trail, this is right out in front of where the state parks is at. And then Prairie Trail goes this way at the Hutter. This is the Centennial Trail, the Crossroads. Sounds like a Robert Johnson tune. And then Celtice, that was built a few years ago, so it added 4 more additional miles so he mows both sides of these and then does snow removal. And obviously Tubbs Hill. We did a different measurement on this. The previous measurements were on a flat plane, 120, but we took in consideration the elevation, so we believe it's a little bit more than 120. And then Veteran Centennial is also his to mow. That's that one up there on Fernand. And then this is coming forward yet to be given to us, but you approved this, council did some years ago, an agreement with them to take over maintenance of this right-of-way here to be mowed and then snow removal. This 95 trail that goes all the way up north, right? So it's on the east side of 95. And then Robert and DJ, both these gentlemen, this is the cemetery, were seasonals. Robert started out as a seasonal, then got hired as a worker 1, and now is a lead worker in charge of the cemetery. DJ was a seasonal, and we hired him, and now he's full-time as well. So our shop there is just north of the cemetery, Forest Cemetery right there. They actually maintain that. Forest Cemetery itself, almost 22 acres. They also maintain the Government Way Islands. So that goes from Harrison all the way to the county courthouse. That's theirs. Lincoln Way Triangle right along Northwest Boulevard. That used to have a light there. There was an accident, and so they since closed that light some years ago, and they maintained that. Riverview is theirs to maintain. And then, again, come these weird little spots. Walnut Island at 95, they maintain that. And additionally, so Riverview Cemetery is just off to the right of the screen here. They drive out of a gate we have there, and this is 95 right there, and Northwest Boulevard, They maintain that. And Larry and Barry show. So Barry Porath was a hire a couple years ago, hired him as a worker 1, moved up the ranks pretty quickly. Now he's a lead worker. Larry was seasonal for about 4 or 5 years, and he got picked up as a full-time, I think, in 2008. So they are in charge of Atlas, and they've got their work cut out for them. It's a beautiful, beautiful. Have you been out there in a while? You ought to go out there and see all the clover. It's unbelievable. It's really nice. So they maintain Riverstone Dog Park. This is, Riverstone is to the right of the screen, and Atlas is kind of behind the screen. This was Whitewater Development did these homes or these apartments in here. In that, they built and paid for this dog park to our design some 10 years ago or so. They maintain the Celtice roundabouts, both of them. So you may have seen them last week. They were out there with a crew knocking down all the stuff and dodging traffic and taking care of business. This is theirs to maintain, this area here at the trailhead. And then Mill River Park is theirs also. And another little funky thing, Gibbs Island, they're near where the liquor store is kind of over here somewhere. That's another spot that we maintain that I don't think people know the Parks Department take care of. And so Winton, they maintain the developed area where Monty does the stuff that's the natural. They handle all of this.
Those are the horseshoe pits, right?
Horseshoe pits, yes, that's correct. And then the Mow crew. All three of these gentlemen were seasonals. Every one of them now full-timer.
They should
This
all be
gentleman-
named Mo.
Yeah. Mow crew, yep.
The only one who finds that funny. Okay.
And so Czar was started out as a seasonal, became a worker one, and then he was working along with our previous irrigation technician, and then he left us, and we interviewed Czar for that position. Now he's the irrigation technician and also oversees the crew here. This is an interesting thing, so I'll just jump into, 5,653 gear type sprinkler heads. Some of these range from $25 to $110 a piece. There are occasions, then we'll have somebody go through there in an evening and kick off about 6 that cost about $90 a pop. Happens on,
You mean destroy them?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so those are expensive, but this is kind of interesting. 13 and a half miles of main line he maintains, and then almost 68 miles of lateral lines, along with irrigation pumps 14. The mow crew handles all of those areas we talked about mowing, all those parks in 5 days. 200 acres of turf grass in 5 days. And then the Friday's a short day, and then they go start and do maintenance. They go back to the shop and take care of business with getting everything sharpened and cleaned and oiled and greased up and ready to go for the following Monday.
What do you do with the clippings?
Throw them away.
Just send them to the dump?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there are times we have used them. We were dumping them sometimes at Cherry Hill, but for the most part, they go to the dump.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might take mine to the
Yeah.
dump too. I just was
Yeah.
wondering if you had a secret.
No, I don't. We used to you got to be careful too. If we feed it so it grows, and it has to be swept up because it gets so thick that it'll shade it out. You'll actually kill the turf, so you have to. You can't just leave it mulched there.
Yeah.
Even though we do have mulching blades, it grows so much that it's such that we have to remove it. So street trees, Nick Goodwin. Nick started out as seasonal as well. He was cemetery. He was hired there in the cemetery working under Jeff Erickson, and then he got picked up full-time. Jeff left that position to go become an irrigation technician, and then Nick became the lead in the cemetery, once again, about how we hire from within. So now he's the urban forester. He took over after Katie left us.
She abandoned us.
She abandoned us, yes, she did. So, 25,000 public trees. He coordinates tree planting, maintenance, and manages the cost share program for residential single-family homes. So, you can go to us and say, about tree replacement, and/or we have a cost share program that we can help you prune a tree. So he
And
manages.
I've used that.
You've used that. I've seen your name, and I signed that.
$150.
Yeah.
And council approved it.
So he records and coordinates all efforts to maintain Tree City USA, and manages, coordinates the work in tree plantings, natural areas, and parks, and does all of that. He does a great job, good hand. We're really lucky to have him taking care of what Katie did. I was really concerned when she abandoned us.
Yes.
That we were going to find the proper person, and we did. He covers for Melissa really well in the office when she's gone. So, but public trees, he maintains hazard trees, even though that was a picture saying we use as fun, it still was a hazard tree. Tree plantings, and this was fun. We did this a couple times. It was the community really loved it. It was a great thing, and we'll probably do it again. And building, Adam and Joe. Joe was at seasonal, became a full-time. Adam was one of those that came in from the outside. Great hire to replace Howard. Really can't say enough good things about both these guys. But here's all the things they maintain. The armories, we have a shop there over at Walnut, okay, right? We've got a working shop there. One of those bays we have, it's a wood shop, so we take all of our picnic tables and our benches and we refurbish them in there and bring them out in the spring.
Do we do any guns in there at all?
Do what?
Guns? It's an armory.
I wouldn't tell you.
Okay, thank you. We'll talk about it later.
So they maintain Atlas Restroom, City Hall, street shop there. So all the interior components of a building, lights, electrical, HVAC, whatever it is, they handle all of that stuff. And all the janitorial for all of these municipal buildings, that's their charge as well.
Bill, let me ask you while you're zipping through here, so I have some notes on building. How did that come to be that that Parks takes care of light bulbs and fixing things in all the buildings that are city-related? I seem to remember the fire departments cutting their old lawns back in the day and things like that. Is that how it evolves? Do those departments pay you to take care of these things? I might open a big can of
No,
worms.
no.
I'm just
The
wondering what
general
the history
fund
was.
takes care of us in that respect, and we're just team players. And so
Right.
that's the reason for it. Now, to ask about how we absorbed the building division,
Yeah,
that came about way back when building was actually bouncing around and didn't really have a home. The gentleman who was running that at the time was assigned to our department. When the previous director and myself were trying to create an outline for that gentleman to perform properly, he decided he thought he should leave. And so we absorbed the buildings in parks. And so it's been that way 10 or 12 years now. Okay?
probably, okay.
Yeah.
But you guys you take care of the toilet paper and the cleaning supplies
Yes.
and the light bulbs.
Yes.
You guys put the light bulbs here in the
Yes.
library.
Yes.
Okay, I
Yeah,
always
so
find-
anything inside you see a building, painting, a squeaky hinge,
Gotcha.
a lift tile, whatever it is, if we can't fix it, we certainly manage it and get a contractor and oversee the repairs,
Okay,
okay? And Adam is really good at HVAC. That's his forte, and he's gonna, he's been stepping up the game there quite a bit.
nice, nice.
So the parking garage is ours to maintain, admin, fire, fire station 1, 2, and 3, fire station there. So all those gentlemen go inside and all the things you just asked about. And even Harbor Center, although they have their own maintenance crew, it is our asset, so we have some oversight, and when they run into certain things, we get involved. Human rights is ours to maintain as well. Even though we have a tenant there, when it gets something beyond what they can do, we don't want our assets to get run aground, so we jump in and fix things.
We won't go there.
And Jewett House, that's, you remember this got hit, we refurbished that and went back to the original.
But the back garage, we're not going to be replacing that.
We will be. We're just having a hard time getting quotes.
Okay.
We're going to move it. It was kind of on the north side. I think we're going to go on the east side. So when you drive in, you're going dead into it.
Yeah.
So you used to have to drive in and kind of make a hard left. So yeah, we're still got it, the insurance money set aside, and we plan on replacing it.
Okay, good.
And a library. You just asked about that, where we're standing right now. And then McEwen Harbor House, that's theirs. And then the pavilion. And the museum. And the police department. And the pole barn PD. And then the engineering's office, what used to be the waters department's old space. And then they also handle all of the interior maintenance of that. All of these buildings are theirs, including Mr. Mike's. So we offer a pretty good recreation program with only 4 people. I've said it before, and I'll say it again about my entire staff. I am a blessed individual. I am really, really, really fortunate. The staff we have working, I don't even know how to put it. They're so dedicated. They really take, and all that vandalism you saw earlier breaks their heart. It really does. I mean, they work hard. They make it their own. They really have ownership in it, and that's true of this division as well. We offer a lot of stuff, given that we only have 4 people, and so they do a great job. And so here's just some of the stuff that they handle and provide for our kids. There's Adam out there. I caught him out there one day. Little folks. These are bigger clubs with kind of like a wiffle ball thing, trying to get them to learn how to swing a club. Adam plays, so he plays golf, so he knows what to do. Fishing derby, kiddies parade, flag football, co-ed softball, men's softball, youth basketball, women's basketball, high school basketball, competitive youth, dance, hip-hop, and one of our more popular, the indoor swim lessons at the McGrain Center. Pickleball, as you know, is a big thing coming up. It is huge. You're going to see me coming forward with an MOU with the Pickleball Association about trying to help build some standalone pickleball courts. They're in a fundraising mode right now, and so I've got a parcel of land that we think is suitable for that, and we'll come forward with that here in the next couple of months.
Nice.
And then special needs recreation, we work real closely with them. And so the senior, they do all the programming. Adam is working closely with Marla on all of the weddings now. So I've got him assigned to go there and handle all of that.
Nice.
And then the snow routes. This is something that I think is real interesting. A lot of people don't know about the amount of snow we remove. So we have about 25 sites that include 1,646 parking spaces, okay? The amount of pavement we maintain is almost 17 acres of parking lots. So everybody knows about the street department. They do a fabulous job in the streets, but everything outside of the streets, we do it, okay? And so, you know, we have multi-use trails that are plowed about 22 miles. And then sidewalks about 4 miles. Here's an example of what we do in the snow. So just gentleman sent us this picture because this is how he gets to work. And he was thankful that we do this. And so he takes a picture of that, sent to us and says, thanks. So this is along Atlas Trail. This is out here by McEwen. This is by the old library. And here is us cleaning up stuff to make room for more snow. And then all areas, and I've said this before, pay no attention to this guy on this left side of the screen. These people plus 2 other folks would be Adam Karitko and Paula Austin. We couldn't do what we do without such strong divisions. My team, I just can't say enough about them. I told a little story, and I'll tell it again. Erickson I'm really thankful he took my old job. He's a good hand, very bright, real energetic, real dedicated. We had a friend who recently passed away, Dwight Burshaw. Dwight would contact me all hours of the night. Dwight liked to walk his dog in the park at about 3 in the morning. I would get detailed messages from Dwight about where there was a broken sprinkler head 65 feet to the east of the pavilion or whatever it was. He would send me video of things that were broken. Well, I got a call from him 3 in the morning one night, and he said in the message that the K-27 water, the basin is gone. And it sounds like a jet engine. So I call Erickson, call him up, he answers his phone. He and I run out here about 3 in the morning. And sure enough, somehow a valve was switched incorrectly and the basin drained and it sounded like a jet engine. So we jump in there and we fix it. And I only tell this story just to give about an illustration about the dedication of our staff. This is not the first time all hours of the morning. We don't have people on call like some of the other departments. They're not on call. They're on a call list. So it means you just get a call. And if you pick up, you're going to come to work. If you don't, we move down the chain. But this is just to give you an indication how strong our team is. They're always willing to do that.
That's awesome.
And that's the show.
So you didn't say anything about the ice skating rink.
Well, I will now.
Okay.
So we have an ice skating rink that's being, the soft opening is this Friday.
No.
Yes, and the big opening is this Saturday. And so here's an interesting little story about the ice rink. So we get a call from Renata. She's got a good view of the park. And we get a call and she says, gosh, there's somebody who hopped the curb, drove along the path in a small car, and they're spinning their wheels in a park. And over there by the ice rink. So we send somebody over, and the report comes back. And this is why I've talked to the police about this before. Eyewitness reports, Randy can probably attest to this, are not always that good. So we go out there, and what turned out was there was a car. It didn't hop the curb. It drove in like it should. It was part of the setup. They were rinsing off the tires of the car because it had grass on it, because what they were going to do is they're going to drive on the ice.
I'll make sure it's stable.
And they're going to fracture the ice, and they're going to bust out all the bubbles, fracture it, drives around in circles, bust the ice, fracture it, flood it again, and refreeze it. It makes better ice, so it's much more solid.
Really?
So anyway, they're working on it now. I was out there, Jeff Crow was out there on Friday, and we had a little video session out there, and we're going to have something, Jeff's been working from the beginning to the end, so we'll have a nice montage of video with, our position and the Murrays, which are Andrea and Jerome are the owners we've been working with. And the thing that they're running into is if anybody's looking for work part-time, they can go get an application and help work there because they're having a hard time finding folk.
Good to know.
So hopefully they can get what they need. But anyway, soft opening is this Friday, and the full opening is on Saturday.
Do we have media planned about that?
Say that again?
Media? Have you contacted the press and the?
I guess I
TV?
could. I hadn't really thought about it, but I will. That's a good one.
I think it's,
Bewley is.
Pigeon.
Yeah. Well, Jeff's been taking it, but you mean as far as media, you mean like the press?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
This
I
is
can-
cool.
Yeah, I agree.
And you and I have met.
I
there
get
have been
nothing but good comments.
Many people who've asked us why we don't have an ice rink downtown.
Yeah, no, well, when Jeff was interviewing me, that's one of the things I said. We'd always want some sort of winter festival.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted something, and we tried a few things, and it always kind of fell apart. And then even then, when we had snow on occasion, we took a tractor and back dragged it so we'd have cross-country ski.
Right.
Right? Well, the snow doesn't stick around here long enough most of the time. It freeze-thaw stuff. And so it's a lot of effort for it to be there for a couple of days and just melt.
Mm-hmm.
So we just never really had it. Now we do. We've got a winter festival now.
Couple
He's got
questions.
igloos out there and warming spots, and there'll be food and some, it'll be a good time.
Good.
Libations.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
couple questions on that, the ice skating rink. Is there some economic value for us to promote it? If it does better, do we do better from it, or do we just
Yes.
want them to be?
So, you approved an agreement with them, was an escalating agreement. So the longer they stay, the more money we'll get. It's in about 7 or so years, maybe 10, it doubles in what they're paying us to be there.
Okay.
The other part of that is the community. So it's going to bring people here. Folks can take a cruise, come skating, go skating, take a cruise, go downtown, get a bite to eat, have a couple drinks. So the vibe of it is just something. It's just it just infuses a bunch of people down here, and it's good for everybody.
Okay. Another question, Sledding Hill, fire pits? We've talked about that over the years. Is that something?
At Sledding Hill?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, they're having fire pits here.
right,
They're gas.
okay,
And so the fire department has approved those.
okay.
But no, what happens is, this is manned. We don't have a person at the Sledding Hill, so I don't think that would be a good idea.
Okay. On the sprinklers, you have 2 sprinkler technicians that take care of all the sprinklers,
Wow.
1, and he still has other duties?
He oversees some of being a lead, he oversees the mow crew. And so he kind of gives them some direction. Tom's a great hand and has been doing it for a while, so they don't need a lot of oversight. But we thought it was a good fit with the irrigation, and what happens is the mow crew finds most of the broken sprinklers,
Oh, okay.
okay? So they'll find a wet spot, they'll know it, so it seemed like a good fit.
Oh, that's great. The cemetery, 2 guys, that's it. the
And a
place-
seasonal.
And a seasonal. And it's always perfect. It amazes me. How do you set a goal for a cemetery? What happens when you run out of dirt? When you run out of places for people to go? Is
The dead will walk
that
the
something you
earth.
have to think about?
Yeah, that's why and you approved it, we had a cart path that we closed, and we put in a niche wall. And it's filling up fast.
Gotcha.
Business is good. And we're getting ready, we budgeted for another one this year.
Okay.
So a couple years ago, we put one in, and we have enough room to, I think we said we could get 10 more, so 8 more, we have 2 now.
Okay.
8 more in this serpentine path. And so that's probably the future, and if we can find more spaces in there, we'll do that again. But
Does
we're running out of dirt, but vertical is the way to go.
Gotcha, going vertical.
Yeah.
Does the cemetery cash flow? Does the money that you generate for putting new folks in pay for everybody? Is that, I just never
That's how we're
thought about
paying
it.
for, we have the Cemetery Perpetual Care Fund, and so that's where we're taking those monies out, and we'll spend about $50,000. We more than double our money when we do those niche walls. And so it's solvent, but it's not enough in the perpetual care to actually do what it's designed to do, have enough capital, and then run off the interest. So
Gotcha.
we're getting there. We're trying to put it in there. Right now, the general fund is supplementing that.
Okay.
But we hope to someday be able to get where we need to be self-sufficient.
So this year, you couldn't find help and stuff. Did you do some contracting? Get people to mow and blow and do
A little
things
bit.
that you guys don't
But
want
even
to
the
do?
contractors were
Scrambling.
outsourcing was difficult to do. We didn't do it as much as we had done in the past, but we did some.
Okay. My last one was on security. So when you have tendencies to know that where there's issues or problems, or sprinklers being broken consistently by the wild bunch, have you considered security cams at some level? Not necessarily, I know you can't go in the restrooms, but you could see people coming and going.
Well, our newest park, Atlas, we have put in the pipe to pull the fiber to put in some cameras. We have the same thing at Memorial, where we've got the conduit in place, but we couldn't afford the fiber and the cameras yet. So, but yeah, the problem with that sometimes is that where they're placed, it's like, for example, the broken sprinkler heads. We're not gonna find that. I mean, that's out there in the hinterlands in the dark, and rarely do you find somebody, we're usually around the facilities.
Okay.
And so the damage that occurs maybe when people vandalize a restroom, we might get something on that. We're currently working through the courts they caught the gentleman who damaged our basketball courts here at McEwen.
Oh.
And so I see where that's going to go to court sometime this month, but I don't know if those court dates are getting pushed out, so I don't know.
You guys do a great job. It amazes me when we see it this way. This is huge. I mean, I don't think I realize all the things you guys do, and I know you do a lot with very few, it seems like, And you maintain your own stuff. Oh, one other question.
Yes, sir.
Gas or electric? I know you've been trying to do electric stuff lately.
We are, and electric's really come a long way. The problem with electric in the past, and they've gotten much better, is the duration in which the battery would hold a charge.
Right.
And also the torque on the machines themselves was kind of not the best. They're getting better all the time. I don't know if you've been here at City Hall, but we start mowing and blowing around here early enough that we didn't want to disturb our neighbors, so we bought battery-operated stuff. Blowers, for example, two-cycle engines are kind of screamers, and so at 7 in the morning, we heard from our neighbors it's not the nicest thing to do, so we bought these battery-operated things, and you can't hear them. I mean, it's remarkable.
And they're holding up
Even the
okay?
battery power mowers we use in front of City Hall here are outside my office, for example. I see a guy walking back and forth, and I can't even hear it. It's like, what are you doing? I said, oh, they're mowing out there, So yes, we're using more and more of it. So there's an application for it, but the two-cycle, there's still a need for it.
Gotcha. Hey, thanks. This has been really great.
Good.
Appreciate what you guys do, and yeah.
Yeah, awesome parks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Much better than Post Falls. Stick that out
Be
there.
gentle. Look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Jeff, thank you. We're done.